You're about to experience a Canton Network review where I go in here and break down the good, bad, and the ugly about Canton Network and compare it to what I see as the best opportunity in crypto, which is ICP. I'll give it a fair and honest review because I do see that Canton Network has some real strengths. However, the main thesis here is yes, there's real institutional interest, but I don't see why retail would invest in Canton Network. I see some serious issues. Like the market cap is already $5 billion for a fairly new project with technology that I don't see as being fully captured by holding the coin. And that technology is valued, or the coin rather, is valued several times higher than ICP, which has the best tech in crypto. To me, that's opportunity cost. So we're going to dig into Canton Network in detail because you all have asked me in comments on previous videos to look at Canton Network. If you want me to review a crypto, let me know in the comments which one it is, and I'll crank out as many of these as I can. So let's begin. We're going to address definitely the positives of Canton Network too. And I'll just say Canton for short, so I can remove all those words. Because I do think Canton has some real strengths. They're targeting a real market. There's a real need. There is serious institutional position. And one thing I really like is that they have a visible team on their website. That's a big positive trust signal to me because most teams don't. Now, yes, you can have a team on your website and not have things go well, but one of the biggest things missing in crypto is trust, and they have a deep team on their website. But what I look for is I'm crypto retail. I'm not an institution. I'm not a VC fund. I'm a regular guy that's at home making videos and obviously not giving financial advice. So I'm looking for, as a crypto retail investor myself, what makes sense for me and would I want to buy Canton? If you all ever give me a coin I actually really like you did with ICP years ago, I'll be happy to buy it. The question for me is, do I want to buy Canton as a retail crypto investor? I don't like what I see in that context. The more I look at this, Canton feels like Wall Street trying to enter crypto on its own terms, and I don't see why retail would participate in that whole narrative. And it's also very different. What Canton's doing to me is very different from actually transforming the world and making the internet and crypto and money and finance a better place. I got into Bitcoin in 2014 because of picturing a world with decentralized money. That's what got me in, not thinking that Wall Street could do a few things better with blockchain. When I compare Canton to ICP, and to me, until I find something better than ICP, you have to compare two things to have a valid review, because you can't just review one thing in a vacuum. One ball sitting in space has absolutely no contrast or relativity to anything else. You must have at least two things to have any kind of difference. So I make only comparisons to ICP because to me, it's the best of what crypto is and defines what I as a crypto retail investor am looking for. So let's start off with what Canton actually is. It's not a crypto for an open future thesis. Like to me, I got into crypto for the vision of the future, and Canton's vision of the future doesn't excite me. It's not a project aimed at rebuilding the internet on chain like ICP is. Canton is a project aimed at helping existing financial institutions coordinate better. I don't see why I'd want to invest in helping existing financial institutions coordinate better. And if I did, I'd rather buy a stock where I have legal ownership. If I'm a big fan of banks and institutions, I'd rather just hold their stocks and have some real legal ownership, which the Canton coin does not provide any of that. What Canton looks like is that their coin is facilitating, their network is facilitating infrastructure for regulated finance. I think the infrastructure for regulated finance, it's already doing pretty well. I don't see that it's having major shortcomings. I see that we need something wholeheartedly better than regulated finance. What Canton's offering is a system designed to plug into the world that already exists. Now, if you're very practical and reality-minded, ICP has technology that is solving real-world problems right now. And to me, Canton's not solving something that's exciting. ICP's solving cybercrime. Canton is solving, can these Wall Street blockchains and banks talk to each other a little more efficiently? Not exciting to me. I'm looking for blockchain that creates a better future. So to make this fair, though, Canton having supporting privacy for institutions and interoperability between siloed financial systems does matter. and is adding some real value to the world. Coordinating these assets in regulated environments certainly matters, and this is something that most blockchains can't do because they're open and public. I get that. I understand if you are a large financial institution trying to very carefully step into blockchain, Canton could sound useful for you, but I'm guessing that's not you if you're watching this. So I'm not here like I did in some of my other videos, like to trash Canton. I didn't trash Canton, but a lot of other projects. So Canton is not a fake project or just a meme coin like a lot of other cryptos are. It does have a lot more reality to it than most projects I see. My issue is like value-based investing. And what is the real upside opportunity? Canton being a relatively new project valued at $5 billion, I don't see that there's a great opportunity to make a lot of money anyway. And if I'm going to lose money in crypto retail, I'd rather at least lose it trying to build the world I want. So to me, if you lose money investing in Canton, like what did you accomplish? And how much money are you actually going to make? It seems very limited. When I look at Canton, I don't see anything that excites me, like a new internet or a dramatic leap forward. I see that I'm just basically handing money to people on Wall Street. Like that's how it feels to me. And again, stocks would be a better way to do that. A regulated, carefully controlled way to do that. Now, I think this is something people really need to think about more in crypto, because when you invest in crypto and you get all anxious and nervous and check the price all the time, you should at least feel very good about the values you're supporting doing that. But when you're just throwing it in and all you care about and think about is making money, you don't think about the kind of world you're creating by what you're investing in, then that to me makes it's all about whether you win or lose, whether you tried to create something. So to me, I don't think crypto retail is going to get much emotional satisfaction out of buying Canton. It'll come down to does the price go up or not, which to me looks very risky as big as it is already. Whereas ICP's price has plummeted and I still feel good about investing in something that is offering real value to humanity. And because of that, that could potentially come back and has a strong chance of even taking over crypto. And I say potentially come back in the short term and looks very strong for the long term, ICP. Canton, I don't see how this is going to last the test of time as the technology continues to evolve and the environment is so competitive. Now let's look at the Canton slogan. So I went to their X profile and it says the only public blockchain with privacy that works is ridiculous. This is pretty typical crypto marketing. The slogan, I don't buy that framing at all. It sounds like an way over the top marketing statement based on what I can see is the reality. Because ICP has vet keys and the ICP tech is so powerful, you can run whole websites, applications, games all on chain. And therefore you can set up fully on chain messaging systems and you can make things fully on chain and private if you'd like to. And compared to what Canton's offering, Canton's privacy looks more like privacy for institutional coordination. I don't think you personally have a lot of a need for institutions to coordinate better, more privately. Do you? Like, things are probably going just fine for you the way they are. Thus, I don't see that the privacy direction Canton's going is going to really make the world that much of a better place. And then when Canton's talking about how great their blockchain is based on privacy, I'm thinking I don't remember getting into crypto because of wanting a private blockchain. What I loved about Bitcoin from the beginning is how public it was. So I don't see why I'd want to invest in a public blockchain with privacy that works, especially when they're saying they're the only public blockchain with privacy that works. That's not true. ICP's privacy works very well and has a lot more capabilities when you consider all the things it can do. And when somebody's using a marketing slogan like that, it makes me question the value of the whole project. Like seriously, that's your one angle and your one angle? In 2 minutes, I can easily take your one marketing slogan apart in 2 minutes with easily verifiable statements like about ICP and vet keys and building apps fully on chain. That's not a good sign for a project that's $5 billion in market cap and that's only been out a few months. And I covered that, I invest in crypto for technology, not marketing. So my question is, how good is the technology on Canton? Well, right now, Canton seems like it heavily is dependent on marketing, which most coins in crypto are. But I can tell you, as someone who's gotten over 1 billion views online, that's a billion. As someone who's gotten over 1 billion views online, marketing, attention, and hype fade. And Canton has at very high risk of the attention and marketing they're getting from narratives and Visa talking about, running one of their synchronized nodes or whatever. That stuff is producing headlines that then get people excited that are not thinking this whole thing through. But when the next 1,000 coins come through with their marketing and their money and their new projects, how's Canton going to last the test of time in a brutally competitive crypto environment? If the technology is great like ICP, then that will get built on and it will get adoption and real utility someday. Is Canton's technology so great that somebody else can't come along and offer the same thing? That some other bank or financial institution can't spin up their own service and offer the exact same thing? I don't see anything that makes the tech stand out so much based on Canton that they aren't basically immune to competition. Whereas ICP, the tech is so far advanced, they're almost immune to competition at this point, and there's nobody else even in their lane. And with Canton, I don't see that. Plus, again, all the other stuff I've said here. So, yes, Canton, the way that marketing looks, especially like the team, the website, that looks polished. It looks institutional and marketable, but I don't see where that's going to go very successfully in the future. Now, let's look deeper into the team and the composition. And Dominic Williams from Dfinity helped me research crypto teams so much better. I never thought of this before, but I'm going to tell you now, and I hope from now on, whenever you research crypto projects, you think of this, because this will help you separate the true from the false. So first, I love that Canton Network actually has team members. Now, this makes sense for a Wall Street institutional coin, because Wall Street institutional coins are probably not going to tolerate some anonymous decentralized team. But when I looked at the actual team members on the website, and I do see the real faces, that's a positive, but I see a lot of business people, which makes sense if marketing and connections are your primary value. If the main thing you're doing is trying to get people and institutions to work together and to pay you and to make relationships with you, then it makes sense that there'd be a lot of business people. I see a lot of finance orientation, institutional positioning, but I don't see the deep technical emphasis, the huge quantity of engineers, the shocking level of technical talent that I see at Dfinity. I don't see that on the Canton Network team's page. And thus, when I compare this to Dfinity, Canton Network, again, looks like it's founded on marketing. And it's founded on trying to make business relationships. And I don't see that as sustainable long term, because I've watched in crypto over 12 years, most of the projects founded upon marketing don't last the test of time unless they can somehow fool people indefinitely to buying their coin and then to keep this flywheel marketing up. And the more new coins come out, the harder that is to sustain. Thus, Canton feels like a business first, insider first coin, not anything aligned with crypto retail. I don't want to pay a premium for a coin. I don't want to pay a premium for a polished business story. I want a team that's building something that could launch into the future, not a team that's mostly trying to get people to work together in an existing industry that already is pretty corrupt and not very approachable for retail outside of buying stocks. So to me, my big issue with Canton and all the other coins is that when I'm investing, I want to find the number one best investment by far. I don't want to just have a bag of a bunch of different coins and just hope that a few of them break out. I see diversification as often a sign of ignorance. And sure, if you don't know what's really going on and you just know a certain industry's hot and you just put in every business in that industry, that makes sense. Or if it's, Georgia in the summertime and you buy every HVAC company in town, that makes sense too. Because people are going to need HVAC service, and you know that you own all the companies in town, so you can control the prices and you're guaranteed to make money. As long as your business, employees don't totally steal from you, ruin the whole business. Now in crypto, I see that diversification absolutely doesn't work in crypto. Because in crypto, almost every coin, from my view, is fundamentally worthless because almost anybody can create a coin or blockchain. Therefore, in crypto, to me, very strong research and value-based investing is what I practice as a crypto retail investor. And from that standpoint, I don't see anything in crypto that even comes close to the opportunity ICP is. Because ICP is trying to move the whole internet on blockchain. It can host applications, it can serve web, it can maintain privacy with vet keys if the developers choose to use those. The technology on ICP is so far ahead of everything else, it's ridiculous and it's dangerous to talk about to the rest of crypto. When I look at Canton looks like many other projects I've seen come and go. I'm especially skeptical of anything new. Even Internet Computer Protocol, I didn't buy that when it came out, and I didn't buy it for years after it was released, which is good because the price did nothing but crash. I tend to stay away from new crypto projects because the first thing they haven't done is proved any kind of test of time. Canton is a new project that looks like a finance coordination network, where it's just an adaptation for incumbents, a blockchain for the existing financial world, which completely conflicts with why I invest in crypto. Thus, I don't see why I'd want to buy a coin that helps make Wall Street more comfortable. Now, does Canton rely on partnerships more than real on-chain strengths? This is a big concern for me because ICP, the value proposition is what it can do fully on blockchain. Meanwhile, on Canton, I feel like a lot of the value is depending on these off-chain relationships. And you can see that by the narratives are not what the chain itself can do. It's the partnerships, it's the integrations, it's the financial institutions, it's signaling authority. Now, this makes it easy to sell to those of us in the general population as crypto retail investors who've been conditioned to listen to and respect and obey authority. That unfortunately makes Canton very easy to sell to mass crypto retail investors, which I imagine is part of how it's gotten the valuation it's at today. The challenge is, though, that when it comes to crypto being sold based on authority and partnerships and integrations and financial institutions is not matching what I want as a crypto retail investor. And when it depends on those things, the coin itself and the technology itself has an extremely questionable value for the future. For example, there's so many other coins. I'm just going to stick to talking about Canton and ICP here, but I've seen so many coins with all these partnerships they announced and these things that shot the price up, but they almost never materialize anything valuable in the long term. So I never again want to invest in something that's not partnered based on what the raw technology can do and that they're using the technology because it's truly valuable. Like when the government of Pakistan's partnering with Definity on ICP, they're building because nothing else can do sovereign cloud. And then that to me is truly a meaningful partnership, but it's not really unique to the government of Pakistan. Anybody can move and build in that exact same scenario, like me putting my website on ICP as I'm going to do with Caffeine version 3. Anybody can jump in and get the same benefit as a government. Whereas with Canton, all this stuff that gives it value appears to be, or most of the things that give it real value appear to be things that are off-chain, talk, relationships, and not the actual technology itself. And this means if the reason it's valued at where it's at today depends heavily on partnerships, development, and institutional locos, which if you look at the website, that's where it seems to be signaling, then the investment thesis starts to feel like more like a business narrative trade. And that means extreme risk holding the coin is how I see it. And I see it as very limited upside. I don't see why this would have any huge spike except through, potentially market manipulation and crypto retail investors not doing research and just throwing money in after seeing, one coin hyped up on a video once, which I've certainly done plenty of times. And that's why I do these today, because I don't want to do that again. So I see that Canton has real value now for institutions. But to me, holding the coin looks to be very dangerous and unlikely that that's going to work out well over time. And it's not something I'd feel good losing money in if it didn't work out. So the even deeper criticism on the same angle is my question: is Canton acting like a stock without being a stock? As I said earlier, I'd rather, if I believe in Wall Street, why don't I just give them my money in the form of stocks like most other people do? And Canton has some of the same problems I criticize almost every project I review. People are looking at stories and essentially thinking of the token like a stock, thinking they're getting, by buying the Canton token, they're getting exposure to Wall Street adoption. They're thinking that, the future business success that Canton could have means that they're effectively getting some ownership, but that's not what is happening. The token does not give you ownership of the business story, the partnerships, and all that. In fact, there's documentation that says that, in fact, they can partner and use Canton without even paying with the coin at all. So that doesn't look good to me. To me, this is the biggest risk, that Canton could succeed in getting institutional traction, and retail could still end up with a weak token outcome. And that's just totally unacceptable. That because so much is done off the blockchain, that the whole business system built around Canton could be profitable for all the people participating on the inside, but the retail could still get stuck. My opinion, this looks like a security where you're depending on a centralized group of people to provide value and generate profits. And if that doesn't happen, the coin is not going to work out. Now, I'm not working for any government agency, but my personal evaluation, I class this as a security, and I don't want to invest in securities. I want to invest in something that has a real blockchain network that could run without the centralized team, at least theoretically, without the centralized team doing anything. Now, even ICP, I'm not sure how well it would work if Definity suddenly, went to work on a blockchain on another planet or something. But this, with what I'm seeing with Canton, is it's completely dependent on the centralized team and the institutions, which to me is not ideal. And that takes us to the philosophical divide. Like, this is bigger than just Canton. This is a question of what kind of crypto future I want. Because I've started to include a lot more emotional stuff in here, because a lot of crypto retail investing is not logical. It's not rational. You're not just buying a coin because you did great research on it and you thought it all out. A lot of crypto retail investing is purely emotional. And a lot of it comes from what I would call financial sickness or poverty mindset, or feeling like you don't have enough. And from there, you're going and getting involved in all these coins, thinking they'll save you, thinking they'll make you money, when ironically, it's one of those things where the cause creates a symptom, and investing in many different crypto coins ends up being a symptom of financial sickness, where you're sick with never having enough, with always wanting more, and with just jumping into anything you think can make money, and being willing to lose in a scenario where a loss doesn't even really accomplish anything. So this Canton, to me, appears to line up completely with that. Like, if I believed in all this stuff, I'd just buy stocks. And I don't hold stocks, though, because there's enough stockholders, there's enough money in the stock market. I want to invest my money where it's needed. When I buy ICP, it's needed. I swear I moved the needle a little bit. ICP is so small, I swear I moved the needle a little bit when I buy a little bit. And I'd rather bet on a future where more of the web moves on chain. I'd rather invest in a coin based on a team who's innovated incredible technology, rather than trying to partner up people in Wall Street. And I'd rather invest where a blockchain is not just a helper for an old system, but real infrastructure on its own. Now, to be fair, the bullish case for Canton is something that can be very easily explained. If things just stay the way they are, and money stays flowing right where it's flowing, and the technology really doesn't matter, and we'd all just rather throw our money around and gamble and speculate than invest in real tech, then Canton could do well. Regulated finance could continue to adopt this if the existing banks manage to keep the population suppressed and continuing to interact and stuck transacting with them, and convince the population to buy all these cryptos that are fundamentally questionable as to what value they have. Then this existing offering from Canton could work just fine to plug all that together. If things don't really change and keep staying the same, then Canton could continue to be adopted more and more. But how much is the market cap going to go up anyway, even if that bull case happens? I don't see that there's that much possible upside, and there's a lot of possible downside. So, with considering all this, investing in Canton feels very conservative. And I don't see why I would invest. I'm not invested in crypto for conservative. Again, I'd buy stocks or hold gold if I wanted conservative. I would much rather buy gold or platinum or precious metals, or I was going to say silver, but I already said precious metals. So I would much rather buy precious metals or do something utterly boring like buy a house next door. Like if I want to be conservative, I'll invest that way in my real community with real people face to face. Investing in Canton to me seems like a move that is based on conservative investing, but then you're buying a token, which to me is high risk automatically. Even ICP, all crypto tokens are high risk because they're not conservative. But Canton's whole narrative is appealing to kind of conservative-minded people, but in crypto, which doesn't make any logical sense. Based on how I'd want to conservatively invest, I wouldn't want to invest in crypto investing conservatively. Do you see the problem? There's so many critical issues here with Canton that make it totally uninvestable to me as a crypto retail. Now, it clearly is real, unlike a lot of coins, which I'd say are just useless and fake, you could say that. So it's not that Canton has no use case, it does. But to me, in the world of crypto retail, it has no place. I see the institutional, the business logic, the marketing, but I don't see the technology-first crypto investment I'd want to own. When I compare Canton to ICP, now if Canton had a 10 times smaller market cap than ICP, that might be slightly attractive. But right now, Canton has a 3 or 4 times bigger market cap than ICP, and that indicates to me one of them is drastically undervalued, and the other one is drastically overvalued. Either way, like if ICP is accurately valued, then Canton's overvalued. Or if ICP is undervalued and Canton's accurately valued, well, ICP is a better opportunity either way. So I don't see why I would put my money into this. Like you all have told me, this Canton has been one of the most requested cryptos to review, including on my Jerry Banfield ICP channel. These are my closing lines. You know, this I don't see why you'd want to help Wall Street get on chain. I don't see that their slogan is even that good. I invest for technology, not slogans, not blockchains of AI or best in privacy. I invest in real tech that real people have taken a lot of years of their life to build. And I'm not going to invest based on the old system adapting. I want to invest on the new system. I mean, if you look back at through history, you know, there have been technological innovations that have absolutely wiped out the old systems. AI is wiping out a lot of the old systems. I don't think investing and betting on the old systems are going to survive things like this AI revolution and blockchain and combining that with ICP. I don't think I want to invest on betting the old system's going to adapt. I want to invest betting the old system's going down. And I'm yelling timber. So let's wrap this video up. Thanks for watching. If you appreciated this, I'm Jerry Banfield, Crypto Reviews. I do reviews based on what you ask for in the comments. Tell me what else you'd like me to review. I'll do my best to get a quality review out about this. If you want to watch all my ICP videos, subscribe to Jerry Banfield ICP. I also do daily vlogs where I get into my, what I think is much more interesting real life. That's at Jerry Banfield Daily. And I also do gaming videos. If you're a gamer, Jerry Banfield Games is for you. And finally, if you want to learn how I do what I do on YouTube and all the other stuff I can coach you on, I have all my links on jerrybanfield.com. You can schedule a call with me if you'd like, and we can talk about your whole crypto portfolio in detail. I've had people show me crypto portfolios worth a lot of money and ask questions on all of them at once. You can do that at jerrybanfield.com. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon.